Welcome back. Can Cardano stablecoin JED help with the network's growth? This is the question that the community is asking as there is more focus on the stablecoin ecosystem and DeFi ecosystem within Cardano as we're entering the Bitcoin halving of 2024. And Cardano appears to be US dollar assisted. We're going to be discussing that among many other topics, including Solana shrinking ADA, Elon selling the bottom of the market, Grayscale is backing AI cryptos, and ETF wallet releases in the Bitcoin ecosystem. There is a lot going on in crypto and a lot we're going to be discussing in today's video. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Also, hit that notification bell. That way you're always notified every single time we upload, which of course is every single day. And also do me a favor, give the video a free thumbs up because we cover stories no other YouTuber covers in the crypto space. Today, we're going to be starting the video off with this, as Ethereum developers have now set a timeline for the final Dencun testnet upgrade. Now, we know they were going to be launching on this Apolia testnet January 30th, the Holsky testnet February 7th, and we didn't really know when they were going to launch on the main net. And that was really, for me, a key timeline date to follow because, as you guys know, just recently I rotated a lot of my portfolio to get ready for this upcoming bull run and anticipate which cryptos I believe are going to move much higher in price. Now, obviously, most of these cryptos are going to go up in price over the bull run, I believe, most. But some, as you guys have already seen, like Solana doing a 10x pre-halving. I think that there's cryptos out here like Polygon, like Ethereum, like Dogecoin, and some of the other ones a little bit further down the list, Internet Computer, Algorand, etc., are going to perform extremely, extremely well. And I believe that they're going to push some of these incumbents out of the top 10, out of the top 20. Some of these incumbents are potentially XRP, potentially Cardano, and some others here. But let's start with understanding when this timeline is going to be putting the main net launch. So now Ethereum developers have announced confirmation in a blog post of the dates for the two test networks, which you already know, and then the major upgrade, the hard fork that they're planning, which will enable proto-dank sharding, a technical feature that will decrease the cost of transactions on layer 2s, bing, 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 Polygon, as well as enable cheaper data availability on the blockchain. So when we understand, right, this buy the rumor, sell the news, I think it's more buy the news, sell the event, right? Because the news is this, that they're going to be upgrading. But the event is going to be the actual upgrade. And what we have seen historically through these crypto markets, especially with a lot of the top 10 cryptos and Ethereum, we can look at the Shanghai upgrade. We can look at staking going live on the main net during, I don't even remember what that was called, some hard fork. And what we saw was a run up into those events and then a run down in the market after those hard forks took place. And so I would imagine that, number one, Ethereum is going to do well because of this upcoming upgrade from a price perspective. I could be wrong. Do your own research. Nothing I say is financial advice. But as you guys can see here, this is a technical feature that's going to decrease the cost of transactions on layer 2s. And that, the number one layer 2 is Polygon. And there's other cryptos that have outperformed Polygon, and Polygon has corporations involved, integrations in major banking and other financial management companies. I mean, their interoperability and cross-chain communication is pretty much available throughout multiple chains. So there's just so much positive things happening in the Polygon ecosystem. I cannot imagine why Polygon is still under $1. And the longer we stay under $1, it's again, remember that little childhood toy where you would, crank it up and it would, play that song and then pop goes the weasel, right? The longer you would play the song, the more pop and more anticipation that you would see for that suppression of, the spring effectively. And so that is what I think is going to happen with Polygon and Ethereum in the upcoming months in the beginning of 2024. Now, I could be wrong, so you guys need to do your own research. Now, in the Bitcoin ETF game, because a lot of people have been saying, well, what's going on with these Bitcoin ETFs? They've had multiple $billion of inflows. And we haven't seen any movement in the price effectively within the week or two after the Bitcoin ETFs launched. Well, now we're also hearing from these companies that they're effectively releasing their public addresses to show proof on chain of the Bitcoin that they say they have. And so now the question comes into light is what happens if somebody sends Bitcoin to these addresses, either as a dusting attack or even sending it from sanctioned addresses, which, in somebody's mind could effectively then go and sanction that address, which is a Bitcoin ETF, and that would cause bigger issues. Now, effectively, there was already a Bitcoin that was donated or sent to this Bitcoin ETF address from Bitwise. And Eric Balkunis, who's an ETF analyst over at Bloomberg, he said the donation was sent to BitB, which is Bitwise's Bitcoin ETF public address, and it will be shared with investors via securities lending revenue, acting like a tiny fee cut for all. Curious to see if this is a one-off or start of something and we see possible toss tips into proverbial ETF jar, like if the fund had a good year or just for the hell of it, right? Somebody putting money in and kind of congratulating everybody and everybody gets a part of it. So effectively what they're saying here is that donated Bitcoin to this address will effectively be then distributed to the investors of the actual ETF. Now, Hong King, who actually works with Bitwise, he's the chief technology officer, he responded to what's going on here. Somebody posted, somebody just sent 6969 Satoshis to Bitwise ETF. It's now the only over collateralized ETF. Now, Hong King, this chief tech officer over at Bitwise, he said in the past 2 days, our Bitcoin ETF received 998,000 Satoshis, or around $419 across 35 transactions. It's negligible compared to the assets under management, which is $11 million as of this post. But those Satoshis are added to the net asset value, the NAV, and accrue to the benefit of the shareholders. If any Satoshis are sent to them from OFAC sanctioned addresses, Coinbase custody will flag it, and those UTXOs will be left untouched and not be added to the NAV. Handling dust transactions isn't that hard for an institutional custodian. And the framing that you can attack a public Bitcoin address by sending it free Satoshis doesn't hold truth. So now we see that they have already been building these redundancy, security features into these ETFs and into Coinbase custody. So Coinbase custody can, continue to basically hold these addresses in their control and custody for this company and these ETFs. And even though the addresses are public, what Coinbase is doing is they're acting as that intermediary effectively, where they are saying, okay, this Bitcoin is coming from a sanctioned address, or this Bitcoin is coming from a scam that was put out. So these are not going to be part of the ETF. They're still going to be in the wallet balance, of course. And maybe later down the road, they'll come up with some kind of something to be able to do with that Bitcoin, so it's not just sitting there untouched. Maybe, when they rotate addresses every year or every 6 months, whatever their security procedures are, maybe they can take those specific Bitcoin and send them to, that they're not going to keep in part of the ETF, and either send it as a donation or just send it back to the original address or something to that degree. I don't know. Maybe they'll just hold it and just keep it, kind of like as a separate balance. But either way, very interesting that people are already donating to the Bitcoin ETFs. And that, as we're now kind of realizing, now that we've been able to zoom out and we've had enough time to pass to realize that Tesla not only missed out on $300 million in profit after their Bitcoin sales over the last few years, but Elon's Tesla effectively sold the bottom of the market. Okay, I want you to keep this in mind. Because what we saw was Bitcoin mining companies, they sold the bottom, right? All of these corporate holders sold the bottom. And so exactly what happened? So we know that they made purchases, right? Tesla's initial foray into Bitcoin began in February of 2021 with a $1.5 billion investment. Bitcoin was $36,000 at the time. Now you're looking at it, you're like, wow, that's a big difference. But anyway, Tesla sold 10% of their holdings just a month later in 2021. They said they did this to just make sure that there was liquidity to actually sell if they needed to sell. And then the second quarter of 2022, effectively the macro bottom for altcoins and most of the crypto market. Obviously, Bitcoin majorly capitulated at the end of 2022, but we were pretty much close to the bottom in the middle of 2022. June of 2022 was the altcoin bottom. And that's when Tesla sold 75% of their Bitcoin reserves. So effectively, they sold the top of the market. I mean, this 10% sale was a month after they purchased it. Maybe it was for liquidity, but then they sold 75% of the rest of their holdings effectively at the bottom of the market. And this is something to keep in mind. We are going to have another bear market. So you have to keep that in mind as we're going into this bull market, because if you don't, you're going to get caught up in a lot of what many retail investors experienced. Oh no, the markets are going to keep going up. This is going to happen forever. It's going to never stop. And then they lost everything. So like I say, do your own research and make sure you understand the risks involved. Now that Grayscale has their ETF, which effectively was approved by the court and forced by their lawsuit to be approved, they're now talking about AI and crypto synergies. Now, this was at the beginning of January, or at least should say at the end of January 2024. And then effectively they say recently Bitcoin has taken center stage with the approval of Bitcoin ETFs, but the outperformance of AI-related crypto assets serves as a reminder of the broadening application and relevance of public blockchain use cases beyond forms of payment. Grayscale Research believes that developments in the intersection of AI and crypto could offer the potential to mitigate future AI-related societal issues, such as the rise of deepfakes, concerns about data privacy, and the concentration of power. They say while many tokens may simply be riding the AI hype wave, crypto protocols associated with the development of AI have gained early signs of adoption. Specifically, four largest AI adjacent crypto tokens by market cap, which are Tau, Render, AKT, and WLD. These are up 522% in the last year, outperforming utilities and service crypto sector, which was above 86% increase over the same period compared to 522. Now, I'm not going to talk too deep about many of these cryptos that they're calling AI. Render is one that has definitely increased a lot. Teo, I don't really know what that is. We've talked about Fetch AI on this channel because, which one is it? I'm guessing it's this, BitTensor. See some stuff about this. Let's see the about. Machine learning. So AI stuff. So this is a market cap of $2.1 billion, right? Render is a similar situation. And so are these going to go higher? Yeah. And what I'm looking at is the baseline right now, which is Solana went up to about $50 billion pre-halving. So that's kind of the baseline in my head, thinking like cryptos that are at 1 billion or 5 billion, because Solana was effectively at 5 billion and it went to 50 billion, so 10x. And so anything that's under 10 billion, thinking that it can get to 30 or 40 billion, it may be kind of like crazy to think, but in the bull market, I think that it's possible. Render here is basically $1.5 billion market cap. But if you look at other cryptos like Fetch AI, this market cap is $500 million, so significantly less. And although it's gone up fairly substantially over the last year or 2 years, a lot of volatility as well. Again, what Grayscale is saying is accurate. And I think that they're also putting this out because they're looking at AI cryptos for their portfolio funds. And I would not be surprised if we saw a Grayscale AI ETF or a Grayscale AI fund trust that comes out that's similar to their other trusts over this upcoming cycle. But something that we're going to have to keep a very close eye on. If there's AI cryptos that you are looking at or invested in, let me know which ones down below. That way we can look at them in future videos. Now, we're also hearing that Ava Labs is outlining their scaling solution, Vrix, in plans for an avalanche to reach 100,000 transactions per second. And remember, guys, we are going to be talking about Cardano and Solana in just a few minutes here. And don't forget to give the video a free thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We upload every single day of the year. Now, as I've explained, we're going to hear a lot of the same narratives that we've heard in previous cycles. And it's important to focus on what the the new metrics that investors are interested in. Transactions per second, this is something we're starting to hear again. Oh, we're going to be able to do 1 million transactions per second, 100,000 transactions per second, billions of transactions per second. And none of them actually have realized these extreme predictions of where their TPSs are going to be, right? Of generation 4, generation 5 blockchains, like Internet Computer, like Solana, these have very, very high throughputs. But the earlier blockchains like Avalanche and Cardano and Ethereum, even Polygon, they do not have the throughput that they are promising and that we're seeing on some of these newer chains. But again, we're going to see this narrative about, oh, we're going to be able to do this many transactions per second. And whether they are or are not going to be able to do it, that's a whole different story. Ava Labs laid out details for scaling solution Vrix as part of plans to get Avalanche to support speeds of around 100,000 transactions per second. They're already implementing a scaling approach, which is detailed in a research post. It plans to have benchmarks in the next few weeks. The scaling approach will be enabled for their first Hyper SDK software developer kit testnet, which is targeted for middle of Q2, basically within a few months. The Hyper SDK is the framework for building high-performance blockchains that have virtual machines, enabling them to offer smart contracts. Vrix will be used to support such blockchains built using the Hyper SDK known as hyperchains. And the idea is that the technology will trickle down to the main blockchain platform over time. Now, according to a spokesperson for Ava Labs, they said from the inception of the Hyper SDK over a year and a half ago, Ava Labs has been obsessed with providing best-in-class scalability for anyone building their own blockchain on Avalanche. Today, we're moving one step closer to this target with the release of Vrix, or Vrix, V-R-Y-X. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about that. We have covered so much in today's video, and we have a lot more to go. This article asks, can Cardano's stablecoin DJED help with the network's growth? Well, if you've been watching any of my videos, the answer is basically no. The answer is Cardano needs USDC. I mean, this is very clear. I think most of my viewers on this channel agree at this point. I think most of the community members and holders of ADA agree. Whether this is going to happen or not, that's a whole different situation. This is a whole different conversation, whether they're actually going to get it implemented. Because it doesn't seem that the developers or the insiders and the whales of Cardano are interested at all in USDC, even though Charles Hoskinson has made it clear that he thinks it should happen and it will happen. Talk is worth nothing, right? When there's zero proposals to actually get USDC on board. Somebody actually posted a comment on my channel the other day saying, Cryptoviser, it sounds like Cardano is calling Circle and Circle isn't answering the phone. And that's exactly what it does seem like. This is make or break for Cardano in my view. This is not like something that, and personally, guys, I don't hold any ADA. I'm telling you guys my opinion and my investment thesis and strategy. You can disagree with it, that's fine. You could have a different one, that is totally fine. But this is what mine is. And going in the comments or, oh, Cryptoviser just fighting, this doesn't change my view. It actually just reinforces my view that the fact that it's not important to the majority in Cardano means that it can't be important to me. But it is from an investability standpoint. And that's why I cannot invest in Cardano when it doesn't have USDC. But the question is, can DJED fix Cardano? Can it help with the network's growth? Well, how about USDM that everyone's talking about? Oh, Cryptoviser, Mehen, this is going to be the best coin in the world. But meanwhile, people believe that Mehen is not going to be able to reverse transactions or freeze assets. That's literally impossible. Any regulated stablecoin has to have codability to confiscate coins because they're backed by real dollars. So if somebody steals coins and then they're sending it to somebody else and the stablecoin issuer knows that and is allowing the coins to continue to flow, you let me know if that would happen at a bank. You let me know if any regulator would allow that to occur. It won't. And so this idea that the DJED or Mehen are going to fix this all, this is this is coping mechanism, right? It's coping mechanism. Guys, when I was holding Cardano at the beginning, I was a maximalist, right? There was nothing anybody could tell me that could change my mind on it. And then it changed, right? Not that anybody could change my mind on it, but was it investable? I still love following Cardano. I love understanding how this ecosystem is evolving. It's actually really interesting to see these communities, right, of developers, of builders, of investors, of users, of people who are looking for enterprise adoption, government adoption of these technologies, and seeing how it evolves. Some things work out, some things don't, some things get deployed, some things don't. It's very interesting. But that doesn't mean that I have to hold the coin, right? I mean, I say this on a lot of my videos, and people are still like, Cryptoviser, how can you always talk about Cardano? And I'm like, because I find it very interesting, right? I mean, there's a lot of people who go to Starbucks every fucking day and spend $5, $6 on a mediocre coffee. They don't own the stock, but they love Starbucks, but they don't own the stock. So why are they drinking Starbucks? Because they like the product. They don't need to hold the stock, right? And so can Dejed actually help Cardano? I don't think so. Because if you look at Dejed's actual numbers, right? And you can find this on DeFi Llama. You go to DeFiLlama.com, click on chains, and then click on, you can also just search at the top, but I'm going to show you how to get there. Then you click on Cardano, and then you should be able to see Dejed stablecoin. So it has $18 million of ADA locked in their contract, right? So about $20 million. Now, it's an over-collateralized stablecoin. Over-collateralized means that they only issue about 25% of what they have the collateral of. So they have the collateral of about $20 million. So they're basically issuing about $5 million worth of Dejed stablecoin. $5 million. USDM, on the other hand, when I'm making this video, it hasn't even launched yet. So this is really not even a conversation. People are always telling me, but Cryptoviser, what about this project? They're about to launch. I'm like, I don't care about these projects that are still in concept mode. I want to see the product. This is really what I've been saying a lot about Project Catalyst and the community funding mechanism. We're funding all of these projects within Cardano, but none of them have any product. And very few of them actually deploy any product, right? And so we're funding all of these 50 million ADA every few months, but not even a proposal about USDC has been submitted. Not even one. Not even somebody in Bumble F, I don't know, like Europe that, like lives in a poor town trying to change their life, and they didn't even submit a proposal for USDC. It's unbelievable. But anyway, I don't think that this competes with USDC. Because if we look at Solana stablecoin dashboard, right? And I'm using Solana because Solana is where the stablecoin usage is. Solana is where the VC money is going. Solana is where the developers are looking to build because they see the building on Solana where people and the VC money is moving. This is going to give them the ability to make more money, whether it's through their products, their services, a combination of both, and or their investment in the underlying asset, Solana. So if we look at Solana's stablecoin usage, you can see here that USDC is 56% of all the stablecoin usage on Solana. Okay, now I'm going to put this into numbers for you, and I want you guys to really understand what this means. Because again, Cardano's Dejed, which is the only stablecoin that we know of on Cardano right now, Mehen is not even a product yet. It's been in development for 2 years, and they're promising that it's going to be regulated in multiple states in the US. And the community believes that stablecoin issuers like Circle shouldn't be able to freeze assets. So I'm guessing they also believe that Mehen is not going to be able to. But I believe they are. Anyway, so we only have Dejed, $5 million of actual issued stablecoin. USDC on Solana, $1 billion. More than Tether. More than Tether. And not just a little bit more than Tether, a lot more than Tether. Tether is 820 billion. Solana has effectively 25% more stablecoin value on Solana alone than Tether does. Tell me how that works, right? Holders of the stablecoin, right? Millions. Unique holders, 3.5 million wallets. You can see distribution by the different values of holders, distribution of money, but the transfers is really what I want you guys to look at. Because this doesn't just show how much of the coin is issued on the blockchain. This shows you how many people are using this stablecoin on the blockchain. Okay, so remember, Djed, does it show us volume? It doesn't. I'm guessing because this is a fairly new stablecoin, it doesn't show the volume, but I'm sure that there's some place that I would be able to see it. But whatever, doesn't matter. We'll just go with $20 million. We'll go with the full number, $20 million. Solana, in 24 hours, okay, 24 hours. I'm gonna make this larger so you guys can see it. So again, the question is, can Djed help with the network's growth? Djed, $20 million on Cardano. Solana transfers in 24 hours. 85% of the transfers in stablecoin is USDC. The volume is, I have to count, hold on, 10.9, so basically $11 billion in volume in one day in just USDC on one blockchain. I want you guys to understand this number again. $11 billion in USDC transfers on one blockchain in one day. Cardano's total issuance of Djed is $5 million. So let's do the math. 11 billion, and we're going to divide this by Djed's issuance, which is 5 million. That means USDC transfer volume in one day, just USDC, is 2,200 times larger than the Djed stablecoin combined. This is a big number. And this is why I believe USDC needs to come in the Cardano ecosystem. It's regulated, it's backed by real dollars, and at the end of the day, this is what people are using to transact. This is what people are using to transfer. This is the medium of exchange for these blockchains. I'm using Solana because Solana is a lower used chain compared to, I would imagine, Polygon and Ethereum and Bitcoin. But obviously the volume is there where people are using it, right? Total market cap of all stablecoins on Solana, $5 billion. Right? And so when people say, can Djed help Cardano? Not even a chance. I mean, maybe it's going to help somewhat, but not really on a high level because, guys, look at the numbers. USDC's market cap is larger than Cardano's market cap. How can Djed with 20 million even come close to this? This is 1,000 times more than that. Maybe more than 1,000. And so, yeah, I don't think that Djed can really help with the network's growth right now. With USDC, of course. Whenever there's one coin, there's always competition. That's why we see Djed and people are talking about Mahen. And when there's USDC, maybe there'll be 5 more stable coins. But I'm talking about like interoperable stable coin usage, which is what Solana's doing, what Ethereum's doing, what Polygon's doing, what Binance is doing, what Tether is doing, Avalanche is doing, Tron, and Cardano. It doesn't seem like it's really that big of a conversation. And so Cardano is obviously somewhat USDC assisted because there are stable coins that are built and being built on Cardano. And a stable coin tracks the dollar, right? It tracks to the dollar. Even if it depegs a little bit, it's still tracking the dollar. So that means that these stable coins, whether they're backed by real dollars or by ADA, they're USD assisted. And having USDC in that ecosystem to solidify the liquidity on the network and the liquidity on these stable coins and in DeFi, it's the puzzle that puts the Cardano picture together. And I hope that we see that sooner rather than later, because that will probably be the buy the news type of event, in my view. We will have to wait and see. I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments of the video. Don't forget to hit subscribe, give the video a free thumbs up. We upload every single day of the year. Nothing I say is financial advice. I could be wrong about anything and everything that we talked about. So do your own research, invest responsibly, and as always, crypto on.